How to parasail. In the following series, I'm going to describe a technique that my friends and I came up with over the last 3 years to launch a parasail from a relatively small boat. I need to put in the disclaimer that this is going to violate most of the recommendations from the manufacturers of the parasail as well as the boat. So do this at your own risk. If you hurt yourself doing it, do not blame me. The relatively small boat in Pennsylvania to move around legally on a boat while it's above no wake speed is 20 feet. So to do this legally, you need a 20-foot boat because you will need to move around. We've done it on 18-foot boats, and it seems to work relatively well there as well. But in Pennsylvania, you'll be doing some movement while you're above a no wake speed. So again, do it at your own risk. What you're going to do is the process requires that the parasail be inflated from the boat. In this case, we use the wake tower as a launching platform. You'll see in the videos how we do this. We also use the wake tower as a rope brake to allow you to hold the parasail while it's being pulled without superhuman strength. I'll include in it some in the videos compilation of inflations, both successful and unsuccessful. The nice thing about this technique is that you inflate the sail with nobody connected to it, nobody behind the boat, where ropes can hurt people. And if it all works and inflates, then you move to the second step where you connect a person to the parasail. So if you're going to do it, I'm going to recommend some stuff. One, if you have glasses, you're going to want to put a floaty on it. I've lost these glasses 3 times in my lake. So if they're cheap glasses, that's one thing. These are $1,000 each. You're going to want some sort of rope management system. These are basically just a simple extension holder. It's able to get about 150 feet of the original rope on it. In Pennsylvania, the maximum pull line for a non-commercial parasail is 300 feet. My lake is relatively small. We're allowed 80 feet of pull line. The more line you have, obviously the higher your parasailer goes, but also the harder it is to turn. So if you're on a small lake and you have to turn, you could start and practice with lower pull lengths and then increase as you get more and more comfortable. One thing I should mention is that when I originally started this, I thought the driver was the most important person, but I've had much success with me as the only knowledgeable person, the rope worker, and then instructing the driver what to do. Some of the things you need to tell your driver and maybe even have them practice a couple times is the slow acceleration when you're trying to inflate the sail. So in some of the following videos, we'll describe how you ask that the driver get to about 15 miles an hour. And reality is it's 15 miles an hour of headwind. So if you got a 5-mile-an-hour headwind, and then your boat's looking to go about 10 miles an hour to get that 15 miles an hour. You don't necessarily have to measure that with an anemometer, but if you happen to have one, I think this was useful for me for the first year. After that, you kind of get a feel for it. Backing up a little bit, if you want to do 300 feet, you're going to have to upgrade to ultra high density line. So this is, it's a thinner line, but more capable. The original line that comes with the parasail is rated at about 5,700 pounds. This ultra high density, which is a knockoff of and steel. It's rated at 7,000 pounds. The connection to the parasail is done with a figure-8 knot because the synthetic is slippery, and the bowline actually, number one, tightens, so it's near impossible to get it disconnected. Two, it slips, and I've actually had one slip out because the figure-8 and the bowline will tighten up. You can't release this, so then you're going to need a soft shackle to actually do the connection. This is a soft shackle I made. You can buy soft shackles online. Either way is fine. The soft shackle is rated at 2.8 times the strength of the original underlying line. So this is actually a thinner line of 5,000 pounds, but 2.8 times 5,000, that's over 10,000, which is well over the rope. And then when I'm actually flying, I typically double this up. So you're looking well over a 20,000 pound connection, and works out very well. So continuing, the next thing you're going to need is, because you're going to, whether you're letting out the line by hand or using a winch like you'll see on some of my videos, just inflating the sail, you're going to be working with ropes. You're going to want gloves, so if things go a little bit awry, there's a chance you keep your fingers. Now, when you're inflating the sail, you should always be able to hold the sail back. If you can't, your driver's went too fast. It's irrelevant at that point in time. You're not going to be able to have him slow down. You just release the sail and you hope it inflates and doesn't go in the water. If it goes in the water and you didn't completely go too fast, everything is survivable. You just have tell your driver to immediately go to neutral, and hopefully nothing breaks, and you go back and you do a reset. Okay, so the next big thing that we came up with is a way to do the initial tie down. If you're using your wake tower to pull the parasail, and you just have it anchored with the yoke itself, your parasail is going to settle about, let's say, 15 feet above the boat. You're not going to be able to connect your flyer, and that's it. So what you do is you initially affix the parasail to the back of the boat. In my case, I'm using the trailer tie downs, the central pull, and that's it. So you make a rope that is going to basically be an M. So it'll be from the left trailer tie down up to the parasail, down to the center tie down, up to the parasail, to the right trailer tie down. If you're doing this once in a while, you could literally just tie the rope. In my case, I have some D-rings that I connect. It's going to be a lot of force on these, so these things have to be rated. You can't get some cheap Walmart something or other that will bend and snap as easily. The other thing is that you're going to need to connect to the, sorry about the dogs, you're going to need to connect to the parasail itself. This can be a D-ring. I've used D-rings early on, but because the force on the parasail is going to be somewhat significant, actually working with this type of clamp, for example, twisting it around and so forth on line while you're pulling down on the parasail, it gets difficult. So these are fairly fancy clamps that when the parasail goes in there, it easily connects and then also easily disconnects in one motion. Finally, since the ropes and the nice thing about this M structure is once you disconnect the left side, left side or right side, it doesn't matter, the force immediately goes off, and as the parasail goes up, the rope pulls and the parasail itself doesn't turn. So it's if you watch some of the parasailing videos, you'll find that if you pull on the right side of the harness, the parasail itself goes right. Pull on the left, it goes left. So if you disconnect the right, the parasail is going to immediately start veering left if you don't take the pressure off the left side. Originally, we tried to do this simultaneously, but that took another person, and it was somewhat difficult. The M technique, as soon as you release the one side, all of that rope goes up to the other side, is available to the other side. But that means the rope moves, and if it's resting up against your vinyl, you're going to rip your vinyl or get a rope burn in your vinyl. So I use this as a way of getting the rope movement above my vinyl. So this goes down and connects to the center pull, and then comes up above the vinyl, and the attached rope goes to it. Trying to think some of the other things to talk about, but a lot of this is in the rest of the other videos that you could look at and figure out how to do this. I was going to say that practice with your driver. In a couple of cases, I've had people in my drivers would, when I ask them to go faster, so as you're letting out the lines to get the parasail to inflate, there's a chance it's going to start skipping off the water. Skipping off the water is fine. Digging in, you got to stop immediately. But if they're skipping off the water, you're going to ask your driver to go faster. Faster means another mile an hour, give or take. Some of the drivers will give you 5-10 miles an hour, and there's a chance you're going to recover from that, but there's a bigger chance you're going to end up wrecking your sail, breaking lines, something along those lines. So practice with your driver saying, hey, faster means a mile an hour. Faster means 2 miles an hour. Or, faster, a mile an hour, faster again, another mile an hour. When you're working the sail, as you let the lines out, your canopy is going to get wider, offer more lift, and potentially start bouncing. When you see the bounce, that's almost good. Release the lines on as it's going up, not down. You should be able to hold on to the lines through the entire process. If you can't hold on to the lines, your driver's going too fast. If the sail does dig in, you need an immediate stop. And with luck, everything's going to survive. As a recommendation, if you already bought a sail, you have what you have. If you didn't buy a sail, don't go out and buy a 32-footer or something like that. Buy yourself a 24-footer, get practice with it, make sure you're happy with it. It's cheaper, it's easier to inflate. It's going to have my 24-foot has a weight range of 70 to 200 pounds, which is fine for, our small boats. I originally bought a 28-footer, paid $3,000 for it, including getting stars, extra money to get stars sewn into it and so forth down the line. And it's a pretty sail. It's rated at 90 to 300 pounds. Turns out not too many 300-pounders want a parasail. And an awful lot of kids who do want a parasail are not 90 pounds. So, even if you're thinking that you're going to be able to fly your fat friends, chances are they don't want to. And the more expensive sail is, if it breaks, you broke a more expensive sail, and it's harder, so it's more likely it's going to break. and so forth on down the line. Anyway, watch the rest of the series and let me know what you think.